Okay, YouTubers, alien detectives and space sleuths and pareidolia police alike, we have another look today at the Opportunity rover, which basically has gone dead on us, and we haven't heard from it for about 2 months now. And unfortunately, the big dust storm we had on Mars a while back has knocked it out, and I'm not saying it's dead, but it may not recover depending on what happens next. Now, you may want to check out some of these links. I've got a link to the various articles and things here that you can check out. But this was interesting. Basically, this is the NASA page, and it tells you what's happened. And they've basically lost contact with it since June the 10th. And the dust storm has knocked out the rover basically because it cannot get enough power into its solar panels. Now, they performed several studies on the state of its batteries before the storm and temperatures at its location. Because the batteries were in relatively good health before the storm, there's not likely to be too much degradation. So they're hoping that the Opportunity will wake up again, because basically what it does when the power gets low, it will go into sleep mode until it's got enough power to start up again, and basically it's conserving its battery power. But what may have happened, that it was such a large dust storm on Mars, that what may have happened, it may have deposited loads and loads of dust all over the solar panels, which means that the rover can't get enough power to actually perform any duties or move around or anything. So it may stay in sort of sleep mode for quite some time, unless a friendly gust of wind comes along and blows all the sand and crap off of it, like it did a couple of years ago, when it miraculously recovered. So let's hope that does happen, because it's happened before. And unlike the Curiosity rover, this one does really rely on the sun's power to power it and recharge it. Unlike the Curiosity, which has kind of radioactive isotopes that it gets heat from. It converts the heat from the nuclear energy or radioactive energy, and then converts that into electrical power. So basically, it's got like a nuclear powered engine, effectively. But this thing's a little bit more primitive, and it's been up there for nearly 15 years, and it was only really designed to well, it wasn't designed. They were hoping it would go on for years, but they weren't expecting it to last more than a year or two, I think. And like the Spirit rover, which got stuck in some mud or something years ago, they weren't really expecting it to go for more than about a year or two, but it has, and it's been lucky. And some people have sort of theorised that someone's gone up to it and cleaned it, but it hasn't. And no one's gone up and cleaned the Curiosity rover either. It's got quite a lot of dust on it, but not being solar powered, of course, it can carry on regardless. So if you want to check out any of the Opportunity stuff, if you've got my free app, which you can get on any of my videos, if you scroll down into the links in the description, there'll be a link to this app. If you go down to here, it's got the Opportunity raw images page here, which takes you to this page. But it does say here, one new image since the 10th of the 6th, 2018. So that may be an image that was sent before the dust storm. And in fact, if you look at it, it's only a partial image. It's this one here. It's the only new image. Let's have a look there. And what we got is a load of white noise and a lot of image missing data here. That's basically probably where it was sending the image information via radio waves, and there was interference which meant that we lost some of the image. So that was the last thing it sent, which isn't great. It doesn't look promising, but the rover team, the Oppy rover team, do seem fairly confident that it will come back to life. It has done before. I really hope it does, because it's been up there a long time, and a lot of us researchers have been following it for many years now. And it hasn't had as much press recently as the Curiosity rover has, and they'll also be sending more rovers up there in a couple of years. We'll have the 2020 rover, which will have a much longer drill bit, a 2-meter drill bit, and it will have DNA testing gear and all sorts of interesting radar equipment to scan below the ground as well, which would be really cool. So I'm looking forward to that. It will also have a 20 meg camera on it, digital camera, and that means we'll be getting some good high quality images for the first time, hopefully, and hopefully they won't downgrade them and make them look terrible like they do with a lot of these images. Okay, so I'm just going to, for those of you who are new to the channel, I'm just going to show you some of the things that me and a few other researchers have found in the Opportunity Rover images. Here's number one. This is something I found a few years ago, and alien head found on Mars. I will link to all these, by the way, at the end of this video. All these videos I'm about to show you parts of are in this compilation playlist, Mars Opportunity and Spirit Rover Anomalies. Now I haven't put all my Opportunity Rover videos in here, just a few, okay, but you can check these out. There will be a link at the end of this video, so you can click on that and check them out yourself. And if you want any of the images from these individual videos, you need to click on the individual video, and there will be an image link down below in the description, as always. Okay, so let's crack on with it. I'm just going to show you a very short clip of each of these. This is one of my favourite finds from the Opportunity, and it was one I found 2 or 3 years ago now, about 2.5 years ago, and it's from a reasonably good quality image in colour. Many of the, in fact most of the images we get from the Opportunity are black and white. This is one of the few colour ones, and it looks like an alien mummified head. Here's the colour enhancement coming up, which is more recent. I did a remake of this video and put the new images in, which is what this is. Okay, there we are. There we have it. And you can clearly see a mouth with teeth, a small receding chin here, eyes with some eye detail, hair, an ear with an earring, rather pronounced cheekbone here, and it seems to be sticking out of the ground. Now, lots of people have asked why these things are all just lying on the ground. Well, most of these objects, as I have said before, most of these things, especially the skulls and statues, appear usually in areas like this, where you have a ridge, and then you have erosion, wind erosion, where the sand is eroded away, and you have often multiple skulls and fossils lying in an area which was probably once buried not too long ago. Okay, so these were buried in mounds. Now whether they were buried there deliberately or whether they were just washed up there in some kind of tsunami or something like that, who knows, in some kind of disaster, speculation is speculation there. I couldn't prove it either way, but basically they often appear in areas like this where we have a ridge, and they're usually near the bottom of a ridge line, and we've had lateral wind erosion which has taken the soil and sand away, exposing the fossils and other things underneath. And there are over 100 examples of these now, most of them in Gale crater taken by the Curiosity rover. But on my channel you will find over 100 examples of skulls like this and statues and similar things that have been exposed by wind erosion. And this one you can even see it in the raw clip, even though the image quality isn't great. You can even see it quite clearly. You can see the teeth and the eyes and the brow ridges quite clearly, and it becomes even more obvious when I coloured it and highlighted it there. Okay, so that was interesting, that one. Mars image defies skeptics. That's a fairly recent one. I think that was about a year ago. Not a year ago, less than that, a few months back. So that's fairly recent, that find. That's my most recent Opportunity find. There was this one, which I think was found by another researcher. This was found by Vladimir Vladimirov. What seems to be a car. It sounds crazy, but it does look like a car. It's shaped like a car. It has what look like wheels and a number plate with other details. I'll just play a tiny bit of this and show you the enhancements. Abandoned car found on Mars, not Elon Musk's Tesla. Although he will probably go bust at some point soon, I'd have thought. Yeah, but there you have it. You've got a wheel sticking out here, or tyre, with what looks like off-road tread on it. You can see those lines there. You You've got wheel arch here, wheel arch here. You've got the roof of the car. Some possible glass detail here or something. And you've got this rectangular part here, which corresponds very well to a number plate, or at least something similar. There, if you watch the videos, you will see a lot more close-ups here. I don't go real close at the end of the video here, but if you go earlier on, there are some real up-close shots, and it does go into some good detail. But of course, the image quality isn't great because the camera on the Opportunity, like with the Spirit rovers, was built and designed many, many years ago when digital cameras were relatively new. And there's also some interesting structures here, like a little dome-shaped thing here, and a rather strange object here. Don't know what these things are, but they don't look like rocks at all. This looks like debris. So that was interesting. There's another Vladimir find here, which is one of my favourites of all time, the Mars battle tank. And he found this, I think, about a year ago, over a year ago, and posted it on my page, and I asked him if I could do a video, and he was quite pleased for me to do one. And this is up on the ridgeline. This is small. This is only probably about 6 foot from front to back, probably less actually, 5 or 4 even. And you can see a gun and a turret with a hatch on the top, and you can even see wheels. When it brightens up, you'll see the wheel detail. Yeah, you can just about make it out. So check that out. I mean, there is more detail in the video. It goes into real close-ups, and it shows you the wheels and other details on here. I mean, of course, this is a bit of a distance away, and there's not a great deal of detail, but it does correspond with a knocked-out tank, very much like this one from World War II, which is a Russian T-34. Very interesting. And I also show a lot of comparisons with some of the tanks that I got on a game that I used to play called World of Tanks. I've got about 100 tanks on there, and some of them are very similar looking to this, and quite small as well. This is much smaller than this. It's about a third of the size or less. Okay, so it's quite small. Like many of the things we found on Mars, they're kind of dwarf size, miniature size, but they still look relatively similar to Earth objects, but the scale is completely different. And some of these skulls, like this one, is very large indeed. In fact, this is over a foot high, I would say, from here to here. So, like some of the ones I found in Gale Crater, this is very large, although most of the skulls I found, and mummies and heads, and statues, are less than half size of the ones we would have on Earth. They're not human size. They're a third or even a quarter size, some of them. Okay, so that gives you an idea of scale. So this is not a full-size car. This is also very small. This is only about 4 or 5 feet across. Well, across this way, probably about 4 feet or less. So this is also about 1/3 scale. So if it is a car, and it does look like one, it's very small. It's not on Earth. People keep saying these things are on Devon Island or somewhere in the Arctic or whatever. Well, no, they're not, because it's not only is it on another planet, but the scale's completely wrong. These things are way smaller than they should be for Earth. So a lot of people keep saying Devon Island because of some out-of-date video by Rich Hall, I think it was, from years back, saying that the rovers were never sent to Mars, and they probably on some island somewhere, and NASA are faking it all. I don't think that at all. There's way too many images and way too many alien-looking things which don't look like Earth skulls. This is not an Earth skull. This is not a human skull. This is a skull of some kind of proto-human or humanoid, as is this. This isn't human. It may be partly human, but the features are not what we would call standard human features. It's really quite different. Almost kind of Neanderthal looking in some ways, these skulls. They're quite different to modern humans. So they may be very, very old indeed, and could have been buried for many thousands or even millions of years until recently. So a lot of people do take the mick, and I get a lot of people saying, oh, it's just pareidolia. Well, no, pareidolia does not explain the sheer vast quantity of these finds. I'm only showing you a small microcosm of some of the finds here that have been found by myself and others. There are hundreds of similar things on my channel. In fact, There's over 100 skulls and statues that I found in Gale Crater alone, let alone anywhere else on Mars, and lots of other people have found them as well. So do check them out. I will put some links at the end of this video so you can link to the playlist that I showed you, the Opportunity of Spirit playlist, which is this one here. I may even add 1 or 2 more images or videos to that before I post the link. So you can check out this. I'll put a link to this article here. You can also download my free app. Now you will get this free app if you go under any of my videos. There is a link to it, ArtAlienTV free app, and you can either have an Android or HTML5. The HTML5, if you click on it, if you're on a laptop, will give you a desktop version which you can use, and there's loads and loads of stuff here. And you can link to my new channel here as well, which is on BitChute. And if you want to make a donation on BitChute, my new channel, this is my backup channel. Basically I've downloaded or uploaded about 150 videos so far onto this channel. That none of them are new videos. These are only older videos going back to 2017, 16 and 15 and so on. And I will be uploading my entire back catalogue. So if you want to watch any videos without adverts on, you can do that. The quality isn't as good. They're not full HD, and I think the compression rates are a little bit harsh. So the quality isn't as good as it is on YouTube. But if you're watching on a mobile, it's fine. But there's no advertising, so I don't earn anything from this at all. And the only way I will earn anything from any of this, of course, is if one of you or some of you wish to make a donation. You can click on the dollar icon here, and you can make a small PayPal payment if you wish, or you can make a regular payment of $1 or something a month. Entirely up to you. I don't have a Patreon account, and I didn't go on the begathon that everyone did a couple of years back when YouTube was in trouble. I've managed to hold that off for a couple of years, but it's getting quite difficult now to support myself, and $5 a day that I get from YouTube is pretty ridiculous. I do think my channel's been restricted on YouTube, and has been for at least a couple of years, when they confiscated loads of views off me. About 120,000 views I think they took off me. And ever since then, my channel, even though I've gone from 10,000 to almost 30,000 subscribers in that time, in the last 2 years, my views have gone down. So something very odd's going on there, and I have complained to YouTube about it, but they're not doing anything. They won't even admit there's a problem. So do come along to BitChute. If you want, a smallish donation would be appreciated, and it does help my research and help me carry on making these videos. YouTube may change drastically in the next year or two. Who knows? Anything could happen. So it's always good to have a backup plan. But I don't earn any money from this at all, and it's a lot of work. Years and years of research and videos. I've uploaded over 700 videos now to YouTube, and many of them are quite short, but there's a lot of longer documentaries and in-depth studies and CSI style investigations into some of these aliens and skulls and statues and objects and buildings and everything else. So do check it out if you want. Well worth a look. As I said, the quality isn't as good, but if you're on a mobile, it's good enough. On a laptop, I would advise going on YouTube, because the quality is that much better, and you get full HD 60 frames per second videos and stuff like that, which I upload at really high resolution. So there we are. So thanks for watching, everybody. Do like and subscribe if you haven't already, and share it on social media. I will see you soon.